explaining to us what happens when we work for Krishna, or say we prepare food and then offer the food to Krishna. In devotion, if there is devotion, Krishna says, I accept it. I'll take it in my hand. He's in the spiritual world, but he can accept your offering. Yes, he says, because it is offered to me in devotion, therefore I accept them. I take them in my hand. But people may ask the question, where is the hand? We don't see Krishna's hand. Right? Where is the hand? Where is the hand of God? He says, I take it. So I take means I take it in my hand. Without hand, there is no question of taking. Therefore the Vedic hymns, Vedic mantra says, Apani pado javano grahita. The Lord has no legs, no hands, but still he can walk more than the speed of air, more than the speed of the mind, and he can accept whatever we offer. But he has no hand, he has no leg. So this means that he has no hand, he has no leg, like our limited, measured hand or leg. When the Vedic mantra says that God has no hand or leg, it means he has no hand or legs like us. But he can stretch his hand anywhere. Similarly, he can stretch and he can hear from anywhere. That is the prerogative of the Supreme Lord. When you offer prayers, he can hear your prayers. When you offer food, he can take it. He says, I take it. Whatever you do, if you offer it to Krishna, he can accept it. Although you may not see him, but if you work in that consciousness of Krishna, you will see how his hand is everywhere. They said the hand of God is everywhere, even though we cannot see it. Of that purport, 958. Mm-hmm.
Turn to the purport of 926.
26.
The last paragraph, the impersonalist philosophy.
Mm-hmm. You found it? The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses, they cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad Gita. To them, it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses, and it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other sense. Krishna can eat with his eyes. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. His senses are interchangeable. We can only eat with our mouth, but Krishna is such that he can do anything with any of his senses. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. He's not lacking senses. He could hardly be considered, or if he was lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so, in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotees' words of love in offering foodstuffs is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized. Because of his absolute position, his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth can eat food and enjoy it. In the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master has written in the Brahma Samhita that in the spiritual sphere, there is no such difference as that between the body and the soul, between the limbs and their proprietor, between the attributes and the object possessing them of this world. But such differences really exist in the case of the conditioned souls. Although Krishna is limbed, he has limbs, he has hands and legs. His every limb is the whole entity. He performs all varieties of divine spiritual functions with every one of his limbs. Hence, he is an indivisible whole and a perfect transcendental entity. So both Krishna, you could say Krishna is his body, but we are not our body. We are different from our body. But in the spiritual world, we will have spiritual bodies when we go there. And then we can do like Krishna does. The senses, everything will be interchangeable. That is the difference between spiritual body and material body. He says both the Jiva soul and Krishna are transcendental. So they belong to the same category. But they differ in this, that the transcendental attributes exist in the Jiva soul in infinitesimally small degrees, whereas in Krishna they are found in their fullest perfection. The attributes manifest themselves in their proper infinitesimal status. The Jiva soul attains the nearest approach to the absolute identity only when the spiritual force of ecstatic energy appears in him by the grace of Krishna. Still, Krishna remains the object of universal homage by reason of his possession of certain unique attributes. These fourfold unrivaled attributes do not manifest themselves in Narayan, the Lord of Vaikuntha, or in the primeval Purusha avatars, or in the highest deities such as Shiva, what to speak of all the jivas. So, continuing the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, that his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting, and only the devotees who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth can eat food and enjoy it. When I first came to the temple, and the devotees told me, yes, Krishna is on the altar, and we offer the food to him, and he eats it, and then we get his remnants. So I couldn't understand that. I wanted to know how. How can the deity eat? But by Krishna's spiritual potency, the deity can eat. He can see. When we come to the temple, people say they're coming to see the deity. They're coming to get darshan. Darshan means to see. But actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, no, when we come to the temple so that the deity can see us. We can't see spirit. So yes, we see the statue, we see the deity. We cannot see spirit. But Krishna is fully spiritual. So when we come, and that's why we bow down, we pay our obeisances, and when we enter the temple room, we want Krishna to see us, that I am your devotee. So we are requested, the spiritual master requests that we should come to the temple regularly, as often as possible, so that Krishna's glance may fall upon us. We read earlier here, it says that just by his glancing, he impregnates the whole material world with living entities. We are impregnated into the womb of material nature, but simply by his glance. So, we take the statements of Krishna as he says, even though it's inconceivable to us. But by accepting those statements, we go on doing our duty, doing our work, and we make spiritual progress. Eventually we'll understand fully how Krishna is present everywhere. He's present everywhere. He's present within the atoms. He's in every living entity. Not only in human beings, even in the all the species of life. He's present. There's nowhere where He is not. Did we finish that part? Yeah.
If we come to the temple to see the deity, we are coming as an enjoyer. If we come to the temple so that Krishna sees us, we're coming as a servant. And Krishna is the enjoyer. You see? Like, for example, when you go to a movie, do you go as a servant or an enjoyer? Enjoy. Yes, Dr. Rish? Yes. But if you are performing a play and you're an actor, do you go as, are you the enjoyer or the servant? Huh? Yeah, you're serving the public, you see. So if we come to see Krishna, we're coming as an enjoyer. But Krishna is the enjoyer, we're not the enjoyer. But we're assuming Krishna can't see us because he's just a statue. So there are a lot of things implied by, I'm coming to take darshan. You see. You're coming with the assumption that the deity is a statue, like a mannequin in a store window. What is a mannequin? Anybody know? Yes, it's just that. Yeah. So when you pass by these big stores and you see the mannequin dressed up, and you look in, are you looking in as an enjoyer? Yeah, you see. But if you come to the temple to look at Krishna like you would look at a mannequin, it means that you're the enjoyer, and the deity is something actually dead. It can't see back. It can't talk to you. It can't see. And it's complete wrong conception. We're coming to the temple to bow down to Krishna, and so Krishna can see us, to see if we've made any spiritual progress or not. And when you make an offering to the Lord, it's with the assumption that the Lord's senses are infinite. And therefore, even though he may be in Vaikuntha or Goloka, he can accept the offering if it's offered with words of love, with prayers of love for the Lord. He's not looking for the food. He doesn't need the food, right? But he'll accept the food if you offer it with love and devotion. And he's capable of accepting it. He can stretch as Vamanadev, he stretched his foot to the end of the universe and cracked the universe. And a few drops of the causal ocean came in and became the Mandakini river and the heavenly planets, and then the Ganges on this earth. So he can stretch his foot infinitely. So if he stretches his foot infinitely, he can stretch his hand infinitely also and accept your offering. And he can accept your offering simply by hearing. And he can taste the prasadam, the food, simply by hearing your prayers. His senses are perfect. Our senses are limited. And this is why we have a trouble understanding Krishna. Because we have a body that's different than our soul. So when we see Krishna's form, we think, oh, he's like me. He's got a body like mine, full of stool and urine. And but no, his body's not full of stool and urine. It's full of Sat Chit Ananda. Eternity, bliss, and knowledge. So you can only begin to understand these things when you're feeling the ecstasy of Sankirtan, chanting Hare Krishna. Then you begin to understand it's possible that Krishna can hear my prayer. It's possible that Krishna is accepting this offering. It's possible that he can eat anything I offer if I offer sincerely. If you don't feel the ecstasy of chanting Hare Krishna, you will not understand anything. If you think chanting Hare Krishna is just an ordinary thing like chanting marijuana or la 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 la, then you don't understand anything. But if you have faith that the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are non-different, and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is actually present, you see. So everything is depending on our consciousness. If our consciousness is contaminated by material attachments, we can't understand anything. You can hear it over and over again, it won't register. But when we actually engage the body, the mind, the intelligence, everything in the service of Krishna, gradually we become purified of the material attachments and material identifications, false identifications. And then all of a sudden, we begin to understand these spiritual concepts. That's why in your school, most of the kids, if you try to explain it to them, they say, oh, that's fairy tales, I don't believe it. It's not scientific. This is more scientific than the fairy tales they teach you in the science books. Okay, so I have given you several times example that the sun is far, far away. We're continuing in Prabhupada's lecture. The sun is far from us. Still, the sun can distribute its heat and light to us. So if we work with God consciousness, although we are here in this platform, the material platform, that work is admitted or accepted by the Supreme Lord. That is called yoga sta. Yoga sta, yoga means keeping touch with the Supreme. That is called yoga. There are different kinds of yoga mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, especially Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And within Jnana Yoga, there are many other yogas. Dhyana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, so many things. Now here it is said that yoga sta kurakarmani. You be situated in your yoga or in your meditation. Generally, yoga is understood as meditation, but yoga, real meaning of yoga, to keep in touch with the Supreme. That is called yoga. Keep in touch. So you have to work from the platform of spiritual consciousness. At the same time, you have to work. The Lord never says you stop work. Never says. Arjuna's friend was Lord Krishna, but Krishna never said he is God himself, he is the Supreme Personality Godhead of God himself. He never said, Arjuna, that I am your friend, I shall supply all your necessities, you don't require to work, you stop. No, he never said that. Rather, Arjuna was declining to fight, but Krishna is inducing him to fight. So in the spiritual platform, there is no question of stopping work. No question of stopping work, but work for the Supreme. That's all. Isha Vaisham Idam Sarvam, Ishapanishad Mantra 1. With work for the Supreme with God consciousness. So you see, the Mayavadis, they say you have to stop work. Just like there's one Mayavadi here that has a temple here, and when people join his temple, he encourages them to stop working for, in their jobs and begin to work for him. Right? And they think that he's an incarnation of God. See? So, in Krishna consciousness, you don't have to stop your work. Like if you work in Microsoft or Google or you work, in a supermarket or whatever, you don't have to stop your work. You just have to change your consciousness and begin to offer the result of your work to Krishna. Just like we learned the verse, Karmani ivadikaraste, ma phale sukadachana. ma karma phala hetu buhur, ma te karma. So that verse is the previous verse to today's verse, and it says basically that you have a right to work. Ma te sangastu karmani. You have a right to work, but you do not have a right to keep the result of the work for your selfish needs. You just take the minimum, and the rest beyond the minimum you use in Krishna's service. So it says that you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your work. When it says never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, that means that because you're working for Krishna, He is directing you now how to do the work. You know, like if you ever hear a politician, he'll say, I did this, and I did that, and I did this, and I did that, and I did everything. Vote for me. But actually, the devotee never says, I did this, I did that. The devotee says, my Gurudev gave me this task to do, and I am offering the result to Guru and Krishna. And Krishna has given me this body, Krishna has given me this intelligence, Krishna has given me the senses, Krishna has given me everything, and also He's given me my purpose for working in life, that is to offer everything that He wants with love and devotion. So actually, He is the doer, I am simply the servant. Now, this is a different idea than the politician. The politician is saying, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. I own this, this is mine, I'm giving you my mercy, blah, blah, blah. But actually, the devotee says, I belong to Krishna. This body belongs to Krishna. I'm only going to use it in Krishna's service. And Krishna has said that He wants me to purify the body and mind of all material attachments and material lusty desires and so forth, and fill the mind with spiritual desires to please Krishna, and use the body as an instrument to do that. So it's a different way of seeing life, right? This was the original culture of India. And like we said last night, we see the vestiges of that culture, where people worked without attachment to the result, but they offered the result to Krishna. So the proof is there. You go to Sri Rangam, you go to Tirupati, you go to Madurai, you go to Mount Abu, you go to any of the pilgrimage places, and you'll see the buildings that were built by people thousands of years ago. They were able to do these things and live a very simple life because they were not attached to the result. They were offering the result to Krishna. And they did wonderful things, things that people can't even do today. But we'll finish up afterwards. wants to sing? Who wants to sing? Anybody want to sing? Want to sing, bro?
Yashomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yashomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bara Vamsi Badana Suvasa Brajajana Palana Surakula Nasana Brajajana Palana Surakula Nasana Nanda Godana Rakhuwala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Basanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Bhakti Vinodashraya Bhakti Vinodashraya Yashomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Jayo Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jayo Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Sita Ram Jayo Sita Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Jaya Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Oh, anyone do their homework? First say what the homework is.
The homework was explain what is akarma and why it's worth more than anything in the world. The answer is akarma is better than bad karma and good karma. It is better because whatever you do, good or bad, you have to be reborn in the material world to get the results. Some people think good karma is the best, but Krishna said akarma is best. Akarma is the best because it is like your ticket to Govardhan Vrindavan, where you can live forever and happily serve Krishna. Going back to Godhead is worth more than anything in this material world. If someone thinks, I will not act, then I will not get good karma or bad karma. But this is incorrect because inaction is sinful.
Do I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Bad karma is when you receive sins. Good karma is working to do something good only so you can enjoy the results later. But akarma is when you work, but you have no attachment to the result, and you want to give the result of your work to Krishna for Krishna to enjoy. In verse 3.19, it says, "Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme." This verse says that it is your duty to, without attachment, give the end result of what you worked hard for to Krishna to enjoy, for him to enjoy. You're praying to God expecting nothing in return. And this is priceless because it says, for working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. You have to earn life with the Supreme. No money can buy it. It is priceless.
Very good.
Akarma is doing work without hoping for fruitive results for Krishna. Akarma is like points. If you get more, you can go back to Godhead. Akarma is worth more than anything else in this world because it is the way of going back to Godhead, and going back to Godhead is the goal, should be the goal of everyone's life. Therefore, akarma is invaluable, and also you can't buy akarma with money. There is a verse that in Bhagavad Gita that supports it, 3.19, and it says, "Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme."
A person who follows the karma has no attraction for the results of the action and offers it to Krishna. Therefore, the person does not receive good karma or bad karma. If one offers something to Krishna, not only he gets satisfied, but everyone else gets satisfied.
How does it feel not to do it?
Good.
No, it feels bad. Because my prayer has not reached that state yet. Ecstasy from doing the work, visiting for not. He will. He'll eventually get there. Thank you. So you see the benefit of coming to class. You learn the difference between good karma, bad karma, and no karma. No karma is much better because you have a priceless gift if you engage in akarma. Go back to Godhead. In this lifetime, yes. Same thing. Yeah. But nice is not N-I-C-E, it's N-A-I-S. Nice karma and akarma are the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So, we learned just now what is yoga sta, kuru karmani, sangam tyakva dhananjaya. That is, what is the meaning of yoga? See, in both these verses, when the verses that you quoted, the 3rd chapter, 19th verse, before we get back to this yoga, 3rd chapter, 19th verse, Tasmat asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi acharan karma param apnoti purushaha. It says, therefore, Arjuna, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. So when you act as a matter of duty, it could be marriage, it could be your job, it could be in the temple doing service. You're not affected by what? Yes, you're not affected by success and failure. Or, it starts with an H. Well, honor and dishonor, yes. Or happiness and distress, right? You're not affected by these things. You maintain this word, the word Prabhupada used was neutrality. Write this down. N-E-U-T-R-A-L-I-T-Y, neutrality. What does neutrality mean? Yes, Augustia. You what? Yeah, that's one meaning of it. You don't take any sides. You're neutral. Yeah, but it has. Well, that's not exactly what we're looking at. Yes, Krishna.
It's not attracted or disgusted to things, but uses it in Krishna's.
Yes, you're not attracted to something, and you're not rejecting something. You're rather focused on using it in Krishna's service. So you're not attached and you're not detached. You're dedicated to Krishna. You're not attached, you're not detached. You're dedicated to Krishna. Okay? So yoga, therefore, means that you want to always be in touch with Krishna. Yoga means you always want to be in touch with Krishna. Just like if you go on Instagram, what's the purpose of Instagram? Yeah, but you want to be in touch with your nonsense friends, right? But we go on Krishnagram so that we're always in touch with Krishna, right? You see? So you're being in touch, I mean, you want to be in touch with this person, that person, for nonsense. But when you change your mentality, your consciousness, now you want to be in touch with Krishna. So which is more valuable, being in touch with nonsense or being in touch with Krishna? Yeah. Why is it more valuable to be in touch with Krishna? Because he can give you something that the nonsense people can't give you. What is that? Huh? What? What can Krishna give you that the nonsense people can't give you? Yes, Arush. No, come on. You said it you wrote it in your homework. What did you write in the homework about akarma? Look at it. Yeah, eternal life. No one can give you that. No nonsense person can give you. Only Krishna can give that. Okay, so this verse 319 that you quoted today and that you were supposed to look at to answer the homework, well, you see that in the verse that we're looking at, Yoga Stakura Karmani, it says, perform your duty equipoised. Equipoised means without being affected, neutrally, right? Without being affected by success or failure. And he's talking about duty. Now, what does it mean to have a duty? Because this other verse says, without being attached to the fruits of activity, one should act as a matter of duty. What does this word duty mean? Anybody? Yes, Yamuna. Yes. So should you give up doing your duty? No. You're not attached to the results, success or failure. Arjuna was attached to the result in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. He wanted to be able to be happy himself, but he didn't see how he would be happy, and he wanted to be satisfied. He didn't see how he'd be satisfied or happy by winning or losing the battle. So he decided, I'm not going to fight. Did he consider what Krishna wanted? No. Therefore, he was not acting out of duty. He was acting out of his own personal preference or sense gratification. But Krishna explained to him, look, tasmat asakta satatam. Without attachment, asakta means without attachment, and satatam means constantly do your duty, do your work as a duty, and remain asakta, unattached to the results. So, do you know anyone that does that? Doing their duty in Krishna consciousness, unattached to the results. Well, one example is Prabhupada. That's why he was so successful. When you act like that, then Krishna gives you the ability to continue doing it, and he helps you achieve the result. The result is to make something wonderful for Krishna. So, isn't it better? Like Arjuna chose Krishna, and Duryodhana chose Krishna's army. So which one would you choose? But Duryodhana got his whole army. The whole Yadu army is a gigantic army. What good is it to just have Krishna, and Krishna is not allowed to fight? But see, Arjuna is a devotee. He knew that Krishna is the origin of everything. He could make millions of armies if he wants. But his advice is worth more than anything else material. So what is Bhagavad Gita? Krishna is giving his advice to us, telling us how to attain the art of akarma, working without karmic reactions. Everyone in the world is working with karmic reactions, and they're getting bound up over and over again in a cycle of birth and death. And Krishna is teaching here how to work without the results of karma by remaining neutral to success and failure and simply doing your duty to please Krishna. So you see, very few people can understand this. Very few people can understand it because their whole life, and for many, many lifetimes, they've been working with attachment to the result. They've been working as the dominator, the enjoyer, not as the servant of the Lord, and not interested in offering the result to Krishna. They've always wanted to keep the result for themselves. Whether you're in the body of a crab, or an ant, or a lion, or if you're in the body of a human being, the same mentality is there. I am the enjoyer. I am the dominator. This is mine. You see? Whereas the devotee, he develops the idea, nirmama, nothing is mine. Everything belongs to Krishna. Therefore, I have to be more careful. Like, for example, if you borrow someone's car, would you be reckless with it, or would you be more careful than if you drove your own car? Why? What did you say? Yeah, you don't want to damage the car because it belongs to someone else, right? So, therefore, if you understand everything belongs to Krishna, then you'd be more careful because it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to him. And the way you use it, you can only use it in his service. If you use it in your own service, then what happens? You're not protected by Krishna. So anything could happen. But if you use it in Krishna's service and you're conscientious, you're conscious that this belongs to Krishna, I have to be very careful, then Krishna will protect you. Okay? So yoga means staying in touch with Krishna. Now, Prabhupada says there are 3 processes of yoga. Let's look at the lecture again. There are 3 processes of yoga. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Now, Jnana Yoga means to keep in touch with the Supreme by speculation of higher knowledge, that discriminating what is spirit and what is matter. So you see, this is why it's not recommended to do Jnana Yoga, and you'll see why. Because you could go on forever speculating what is spiritual, what is material. Because there's infinite varieties in the material world. And sometimes you can get confused. Does the devotee do this? What does a devotee do? And what does a devotee think? He doesn't have to worry about, is this material or spiritual? As long as he uses everything in Krishna's service. Okay, stop that, Mayapur. Either you're going to listen or you have to step outside. Don't disturb everybody else. Arush, you have to listen, right? Sit away from Arush. Sit away from him. Okay, so the devotee thinks everything belongs to Krishna, and I'm being taught how to use everything in Krishna's service. So it doesn't matter whether it's material or spiritual. It all becomes spiritual by using things in Krishna's service. Everything is spiritual because everything's coming from Krishna. There's 2 levels of spiritual. There's inferior spiritual energy and superior spiritual energy. But they're both spiritual. They both belong to Krishna. So if you use everything, material and spiritual, in Krishna's service, you don't have to worry about what is material, what is spiritual. But when you're not engaged in devotional service, you're engaged rather in speculation. Is this spiritual? Is this material? You can go on forever like that because there's infinite varieties in the material world, right? There's so many animals, so many insects, so many birds, so many fish, so much water, so many mountains, so many rivers, so many people with all different ideas. You could go on forever trying to differentiate between what is spiritual and what is material. So let's read what Prabhupada says. So there are philosophers, they are discriminating. This is matter, netinmeti. This is matter and this is spirit. Netinmeti means it's not this and it's not that. It's a type of logic. Therefore, Krishna is not the cat, Krishna is not the dog. Krishna is not the insect, and he's not the butterfly. Krishna is not the flower, and he's not the tree. Krishna is not this, he's not that. Neti, 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 neti. You could go on forever doing neti, neti. But if you offer everything to Krishna, then you understand, look, the butterfly is made with Krishna's energy. The insect is made with Krishna's energy. The airplane is made with Krishna's energy. The boat is made with Krishna's energy. Therefore, I'm going to learn how to use these things correctly in Krishna's service. Now everything becomes spiritual. Either it's superior spiritual energy or inferior spiritual energy, but you're offering everything to Krishna correctly. Of course, there's an incorrect way. Like, for example, you say, well, marijuana is Krishna's inferior spiritual energy. I'll offer it to Krishna. Can you do that? Why not? Why not? Yes? Exactly right. However, you could make clothing with the marijuana plant. You can make paper with it also. So you can still use the marijuana plant in Krishna's service, not for smoking, but for making, you can also make fuel out of it for running your car. All that technology is there, but not for smoking and getting, as they say, high, but actually it's low. Anyway, so this is matter, this is spirit. Now, that requires study, and that requires knowledge also. Now, suppose a man is neither educated and neither has got sufficient knowledge or philosophical knowledge, then what happens to him? He will not be able to perform yogastha kurukarmani. Yogastha kurukarmani means that he's performing his duty without attachment to success or failure. But he doesn't have knowledge, so he can't do it. What happens to him? He will not be able to perform his duty. No. He is also a bona fide person. He can also perform the work. Because he has no knowledge and because he is uneducated, that doesn't mean he cannot do. He cannot work from the spiritual, or he cannot work from the spiritual platform. He can also do, even though he has no education. How can he do? That is the technique. That is what's being taught in this verse. The technique is explained. Siddhi asiddhayo samobhutva. Siddhi asiddhayo samobhutva. That you do not be anxious for success and failure of the attempt you are making. Success and failure. A common example is cited in this connection. Suppose you are working for your master. You are working in a company or firm for selling something. The master says, you go and find out some customers for this particular product or thing. You go out. Now you sincerely work for it. Suppose you get business worth $100,000 or something like that. And suppose one day you don't get any business. Now the day in which you got some business and on the day in which you did not get any business, it doesn't matter. Your connection with the master is there. So you get your salary. When the profit is $100,000, you don't expect any profit out of it. And when there is no business, there's no loss. Siddhi siddhayo. Either perfect or imperfect. Similarly, if you act on behalf of the Supreme Lord, you can do any work you are situated in. That doesn't matter. But if you act on behalf of the Supreme Lord, just like Arjuna is being requested indirectly, that Lord Sri Krishna says, this fighting is my plan. So if you work for it, so you have nothing to enjoy, suffer, or enjoy or suffer out of the reaction, because you shall work under my instructions. If we work on behalf of the Supreme Lord, then that is called yogastha. You're connected to the Lord. So our work is also not stopped. And at the same time, I'm situated on the spiritual platform. So what is Prabhupada saying here? He says this technique is taught by Krishna. Yogastha kurukarmani tyakva sangam dhananjaya. So let's say you have a job. You're selling vacuum cleaners, right? So you're going door to door and trying to sell a vacuum cleaner. So one day you sell 3 vacuum cleaners. You come back with $500. The next day you tried all day, you didn't sell one. How much money will you get? Well, you're getting a fixed salary, right? Now, if you never sell a vacuum cleaner, you might get fired, right? That means you'll lose your job. But if you try sincerely, and usually 1/3 of the time or 1/2 of the time you go out, you're going to sell some vacuum cleaners, and therefore you get your salary at the end of the month. You're going to get, $1,500 base salary plus 5% of whatever you sell. That 5% is an incentive to sell more. $1,500 is a minimum wage, right? You can barely live on it. So the more you sell, then that 5% enticement is there, so that you sell more than the minimum. And if you sell none every day, that means you're not really trying. They'll fire you. That's real life. Okay? But if you sell a minimum, they'll not fire you. They won't be super happy with you, but they won't fire you because they're not losing any money on you. But if you sell a lot, and they get happy and you get happy, because you'll make that extra 5% on everything you sell. Okay? So in the same way with Krishna, you say there's no reason to give up doing your duty with Krishna, because Krishna is going to help you if you try sincerely. Of course, if you're lazy, then you lose your job, even with Krishna. But if you're working hard and working sincerely, Krishna is going to help you. And if Krishna helps you, you're going to be successful. It might take a long time, but you will be successful. So Arjuna and his brothers, they had to suffer 14 years, and then after that 14-year period, they had to go through the 18 days of this horrible war called the Battle of Kurukshetra. But in the end, they were successful. They didn't give up. They were not attached to the result. They were simply attached to doing their duty for Krishna. You see? So if you're willing to be patient and you work hard and you keep focused on the goal, that is to please Krishna, then Krishna will help you and you will eventually be successful. But you're going to go through difficult times because we're in the material world. You'll be tested to see if you have faith in Krishna or not. You'll be tested. Just like here, I was here 16 years. And during 16 years, we were in that little house, and not much was happening. You know, I mean, we were trying, but not much was happening. And then all of a sudden, by the time we got up to 20 years, wonderful things happened. But for 16 years, not much happened. But we didn't give up. And because of that, look what's happened. Yeah. So most people give up because they're attached to the result. And if they don't get the result right away, they give up. Everybody wants fast food. Everyone wants the magic pill. Everyone wants fast results. Nothing good happens quickly. And why? Because you're not tested. Things will happen over time if you remain steady and don't get discouraged and not be attached to success or failure. Be attached to trying to please Krishna. Okay? So, like, for example, if you go out every day on Sankirtan, you will be extremely successful in the end. In the beginning, it looks like you're not having any success. But the fact that you keep going out, people say, well, wait a minute, I don't agree with this person, but this is a sincere person. I see him every day, whether it's rain or shine. He's coming out and he's chanting Hare Krishna. I don't like what he's saying. I don't like the mantra, but he must be sincere because he's doing it every day and not getting discouraged, and he's happy. So just like we go out on Sankirtan every Saturday, and then we take out our food truck. People tell us, it's raining like cats and dogs, and you're here? We didn't think you were going to come out. You know, and they're like amazed. That's why the more it rains, the more people come. You would think no one would come if it rains really hard. Like last week, it rained really hard. Very hard, right? When we were out there, it was like raining cats and dogs. And everybody thought, oh, no one's going to come. More people came. More people came. We ran out of prasadam. So, this idea of not being attached to the result, not being attached to success or failure, offering the result to Krishna, and doing our duty, whether it's marriage, whether it's work, whether it's sports, whether it's school, we should not be attached to the result, but we should try and offer the result to Krishna. And because everything belongs to Krishna, we have to be very careful with it. More careful than if it belonged to us. And then Krishna is going to help you. Krishna will be on your side. Krishna will give you the intelligence. Krishna will give you the energy. He'll give you everything because you are sincere. You're honest. You are not attached to success or failure. You're attached to the duty of serving Krishna. So duty means something you must do. You cannot stop. You can't say, oh, today I'm tired. Oh, it's raining. Oh, we don't have any money. Oh, you know, the other day some person insulted me. I'm not going out anymore. No. Someday you'll be successful, someday you might not be successful, but you continue knowing that Krishna is protecting you and so forth. So this is what this verse is saying. Perform your duty, equipoise, without being affected by success or failure. O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure, such equanimity, such balanced mind, such steady mind, such determination is called yoga. And you'll see, people who are successful, they might have failed several times in their life, but eventually they succeeded because they didn't give up. See? Like I was reading about the founder of Wikipedia. He started 3-4 businesses. They all failed. They all failed. He spent, I don't know, about 12, 15 years failing. But he didn't give up. Then he started Wikipedia, where the other businesses failed because they were trying to do an online encyclopedia with top scholars controlling the submissions. It didn't work. Then they tried to do it, to make money. It didn't work. Then they figured, wait a minute, let's just do it for free. It worked. And how did you start your business?
It's the same way. We started with free service helping teachers to communicate with parents.
Right.
Now, now we have teachers in 25,000.
Yeah, and now you're able to make a living, right? Yeah, so you didn't give up. You see? And you want to offer some of the result to Krishna. So it's all a formula for success, but you have to be acting out of duty. If your purpose is to please Krishna, then you're not going to get discouraged by failure. You're not going to get discouraged. If your purpose is to please yourself, you'll get discouraged. So, like on a stock market, whenever there's been major losses on the stock market, people commit suicide. They jump out of a window of a 40-story building. Yeah, it's happened a lot. 1928, 1929 it happened. 2008 it happened. And it happens all the time. People commit suicide because they're not yoga sta kurukarmani, sangam tyakpa manisana. They're not attached to Krishna. They're just doing it for themselves, and when things fail, they think their whole world is falling apart. They're not acting out of duty, they're acting out of self-interest. So they commit suicide. People are committing suicide every day around the world, and especially in the United States. And young kids now are committing suicide. They're playing video games and failing, they commit suicide. I'm not kidding you. Or they're on social media and someone, says, oh, you're a jerk, and they cancel your, Yeah, friend. They cancel you as a friend, right? Kids commit suicide. It happens almost once or twice a month in this country. You see? Because they've never been taught this verse. Yoga sta kuru karmani, sangam tyakva manisana, siddhi siddhayo samobhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Krishna says, perform your duty equipoised, with balanced mind, not being disturbed by success or failure, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity, such balanced mind is called yoga. Okay, so now we'll have some homework for tomorrow. Homework is explain the difference between working as a matter of duty to Krishna and working for one's own sense gratification. Explain the difference between working as a matter of duty to please Krishna and working, and the difference between that and working for your own sense gratification.
Working as a matter of duty for Krishna.
Yeah. And working for your own sense gratification. Explain the difference. And actually, we didn't read the purport to this verse, so let's read the purport before we leave. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. What did Prabhupada say yoga is? Huh? What? Keeping in touch with Krishna. Just like you keep in touch with your mom and dad, or you keep in touch with your friends, we should keep in touch with Krishna. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. Now here's a more advanced definition of yoga. Okay? So you're going to have to probably use that to answer the question, the homework question. This is the verse we're studying, 2nd chapter, 48th verse, 248, 2.48. Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. Why does he say that? Because in a later verse in this chapter, it says, Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano nuvidyate tadasya haranti pragyam vayurnavam ivambasi. 2nd chapter, 67th verse. You probably have to use this verse also to answer the question. Don't be so much in a hurry to leave, Krishna. I'm trying to help you do your homework here. 2nd chapter, 67th verse. It says, a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Very important verse. Okay, to do your duty, to be yogastha, connected to Krishna, you have to know how dangerous it is and how easy it is for one of your senses to go out of control and completely derail your attempts to be Krishna conscious. Think about it. That's how powerful the uncontrolled senses are. So it says, yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. What are the senses, Krishna? What?
Nose, mouth, eyes.
Any other senses besides the 3 you mentioned?
Ears.
Yes. No, that's not one of them. Is not one of them.
Eyes, nose, mouth, ears, touch.
It's the skin. And the most important one, you forgot the most one.
Mind.
No. Well, yes, yes, mind, but there's still one you forgot. No, did you say tongue? Yeah, that was the one you forgot. The most important one. The tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable of all the senses. Yeah, so, and who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight, whether it's going to be success or failure. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in a process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. So here we have definition of yoga. you have a definition of duty, and you have the way to really follow yoga, or how to attain real yoga. What does it say? How to attain real yoga in this verse, in this purport? Yes, Yamuna. Huh? Yeah, what does it mean, dictation? Yes, exactly right. That's that's attaining real yoga. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving so many instructions to Arjuna, but actually he's speaking to us also. You can't say, oh, I don't know what his dictation is. Of course, you know. Throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, it's all dictation. Krishna's saying, do this, don't do that. Right? So then it says, the following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in a process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna, or the servant of Krishna. In other words, one can give up the sense of proprietorship by Krishna consciousness, by acting in devotional service. So does that mean you walk out of your house and live in a cardboard box under the I-5 highway, under the bridge in the I-5 highway? Is that what it means? What does it mean, give up the sense of proprietorship? What does it actually mean? Yes, Arush. Yes, but do you feel like someone else is the controller? Like Trump? No, like Krishna. Yes, that's right. Okay. You want to say something, Mayapur? Okay. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. So here is a connection between duty, yoga, proprietorship. All these things now are explained in this one little paragraph. These big, big ideas. Each one is a big idea, big concept. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such he is participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Krishna. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashram Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. So, all the brahmanas that perform rituals like the Satya Narayana Puja and so forth, their real purpose in those type of sacrifices is not to please Krishna, although that's what it's meant for. The real purpose, the way the brahmanas do it and the way they teach people, is to serve yourself. Even though in the story of the Satyanarayana Puja, or the Narayana Puja, there's a story of the Baniya. His name was Sadhu. It's very ironic that the Baniya's name is Sadhu. I think they did that on purpose, just out of irony. And Sadhu always avoids doing the puja to Lord Vishnu. And everything he does fails. And then when he realizes that you have to do the puja, he still doesn't do it, but he has a desire to do it. Everything begins to succeed. But then, again, because he keeps promising to do it, but he doesn't do it, everything fails. And then this time, his wife and daughter do the Satyanarayana Puja, and then he succeeds. And now after that, he'll do it. So it's a funny type of story. It's all about, using rituals to become materially opulent. So it's not really Krishna conscious, although Vishnu is in there, Narayana is in there, and so forth, but it's not really Krishna conscious. But this is real Krishna consciousness. Okay, so now you have your homework, And along with that homework, you have to understand, you have to write down the definitions of yoga, dictation, equipoised, equanimity, and proprietorship, varnashram dharma. You have to understand what those words mean. Did you write down the words, Krishna? You did? Varnashram dharma? No. So, can you go through the list of the words that you have to also have the definition of? What? Equipoised. Yes. Any more? What? Opiate? Yeah, I didn't mention that, but yeah, you can put that word in there too. No, but there's equanimity, equipoised equanimity, dictation, yoga, varnashram dharma, proprietorship. Okay? You got all those words, Agastya? Yeah? Can you repeat them? And is not one of the words. Equanimity, yes, Sarush? Yoga is one of them, yes. Proprietorship is one of them. Okay, so you're going to have to write the definitions of each of those words also as part of your homework. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, take the sheets with you. We're going to go over this tomorrow. Bring them back. Here. Are there more? Didn't you have one? Okay, I'll print one out for you right now. Anybody else need the lecture sheet? Need one, Rita?